A special thank you to Glenn Kramer, Mark Ware, Byron Colley, Steve Dix, Bill Schreiber, Christopher Hunt, Felix Rodriguez, James Rogers, Norman Fair, Daniel Mayer, Kyle Sarpolis, Leland Lampkins, Lonnie Meisner, Michael Douglas, Paul Wood, Michael Scott, Samuel Draney, and Tom Champion.
Welcome back to Slot Car Fun. I do this every week. At least I try to. So far, I've been pretty good at it. Where I just show you my world in slot cars because I love the hobby so much. There are other great shows to watch out there. Nonetheless, and certainly the best, Slot Car News with Dave Kennedy. That show just is my favorite. I look forward to it every Friday. It's one of those things you just look forward to. It's like, oh, it's Friday. Friday's already a great day for me. I love Friday. I've loved Friday ever since I was a kid because I knew that, hey, the weekend was ahead and I didn't have to go to school anymore. Then I became a working person and it's, hey, I don't have to work this weekend. Friday's a great day. You can have fun at work and you can't wait till the end of the day and you get that Friday night. So looking forward to Dave is one of those things right in there. One of the reasons that it's Friday and I'm in love. Remember the song? Friday and I'm in love. Isn't that how it went? Anyway, is that the craze? You'll tell me in the comments below. But I really look forward to it. His show just recently, Dave has had issues with health that he's worked very hard on, fighting several bouts with COVID and colds, and then having to go into surgery, and always maintaining the show, always being there, even if he wasn't feeling that good. But yesterday, when I watched his recent show, the one that's on Slot Car Fun right now, it's pinned to the top so you can't miss it, on Facebook. He's extremely lively. He's throwing his list at you again. He's shaking a car because he's so excited, and everything's so great. And that's what I love about his show is that, he's got something good to say about everything that comes out, even a Range Rover from Scale Electric, which I also think is kind of cool. Okay. I can't buy every slot car that comes out. I wish I could. If I did, I'd probably get one of those just for the hell of it. I like cars, and I like to collect cars. I would like to collect full-scale cars. I have one so far, my lovely Fiat, and I'm very fortunate to have that, and I know it because when I was younger, I had a lot more money than I do today, and I had several sports cars, and I've had all kinds of sports cars, everything from A to Z, and as in Lancia Zagato to an Alfa Romeo. So, and I've been very fortunate. But in the end, just to have this Fiat, maybe I shouldn't say the end. I'm not dead yet, but currently to have the Fiat is. I just feel blessed. It's just every time I get in that car and I have to turn it over several times when it's been cold to get it started, and it starts and I struggle to turn it till it gets rolling, and the sounds, the smells, it's just nothing like a race car on the street. So anyway, I digress. Dave's show is great. Watch it. If you're not watching Slot Car News, it's the one show you need to watch. If you care about the hobby and you want to be up to date on every single aspect of it, from the latest cars, which this is not, to Ninko, to slot car scenics. I can't remember the name of their company. Great company. I know Kevin, the owner. I think it's Slot Car Scenics. No, Racetrack Scenics. You know what? I'll look it up. Put a link down here. I often say this and then forget. Sorry if I did, but yeah, it's great. And he covers all that stuff. So it's not just the cars, it's the tracks. It's Range Rovers. It's all the different car companies and HO to even 124th with BSR doing, which is also the same thing as Revo Slot, doing their 124 scale cars and their 137 cars. So he really, really covers a lot of stuff, and I'm really grateful to Dave because one of the reasons that I got so much more deeply involved in this hobby again, because I was when I was a kid, was because of Dave. I had been back into the hobby since 2012. But when I started watching the show, I just felt like I was really connected to the scene and I was really up on it. And I realized what a great community it is. And the community is fantastic. So I'm grateful to him for that and to Eddie Shore because Eddie's book, this one right here, kind of sealed the deal for me because this book took me back to the early days of slot car racing, which I'm old enough to have said I have had experience with. And it just brought me back to that time and then brought up to present day, which is why I built this car. The McLaren. This is 124th scale car. You can see the brass frame underneath, and I'll show you this car at close up now that it's nearly finished. It's 98% done. So let's talk about that, and maybe I'll run something on the track because I didn't have a race this week. There's a race today, which I couldn't attend. There was one last weekend I couldn't attend. They've been having them every single weekend, and normally we have them every other week. That we're going back to that starting next week. So I won't be to another race till I go to till I go to Buena Park Raceway to run this 124 scale car at their races, I believe May 20th. So I will cover that. Okay, let's take a look at this car. Now, again, this car was built using an Accurate Models McLaren M8B plastic kit. And you notice this tire sticking out a little bit far here? Not sure why that is. It wasn't doing it before. And that is against the rules, so I have to adjust that. There are some adjustments I still have to make. But I'm holding it on with screws right now until I get the right size wire, and then I'll be making two of these. And these, as you know, they go in like so and pop in like that, and that holds the body on, and you can get access to it pretty quickly that way if you need to get inside. You'll see I've got one of Mark Tyler's fantastic drivers in it. And the full interior is in there. I mean, it's all in there, including gauges you can actually see, glass on, and I'm going to race this car, right? You just know a lot of things are going to get broken off of it. That is the nature of racing. That is the nature of racing and full-size racing. Now I have these to consider. I'm not sure I can drill into that and secure some wire in there to keep those on the car, but I'm going to look into that. I may just end up grinding a slot into these and bedding the wire and putting a little bit of epoxy on the other side and painting back over it silver because we do need to have mirrors on it. I know that most of the guys lose these right away, but I think it will look pretty cool. And if I put wire in it and then epoxy that to the inside of the body, they won't get knocked off. They might get bent, and I can bend them back. This was a very interesting adventure building this car. You can watch a video that's on this channel about how I built it using this rather elaborate Precision Slot Cars scratch builder's jig. And a lot of other things like this heavy duty 1100 degree Weller soldering iron, because just using the one that came with this was not enough horsepower to work with the solder and this frame, which is 0.032 thickness, which is pretty thick stuff. And yes, it's heavy, but I'll tell you something, this car really sticks. You can see the movement here. This is the articulation that Hector Gonzalez, better known as Gonzo, has handled. So I have movement this way and that way and this way. So it acts like a motor pod. And the same thing for the front. It's also got that movement in it, and that keeps this articulated as well. Now, you've seen the inside. I'm not going to take these screws off. It's very pretty with the motor in there and everything, and the gears. You might be able to see a little bit of it in there. So, and that's the crown gear right there. Actually, it's not a crown gear. It's a drawing a blank. Need more sleep or something. But that's the main gear. Spur gear, spur gear. So, of course, what I did here is I built the engine and then cut off the part that would be seen with some of the hoses going to the intakes. I also took some of the parts from here that were for the engine, and I built a flat area with the pipes and the little tail lights and stuck them up back in there, and they're part of the body. And this is crooked because it is made to come off. I'm going to secure that in a little better. I can't show you really this car running on the track because it's just too big for the track. I can show you go down the straightaway, and this is the car compared to a 1/24 60s car, and the body is 60s, and so is the frame and the rust kit. I've been working on this car for a while, restoring this back to original condition, and I'm slowly but surely working on an interior, and it's got one of Mark's drivers in it as well, which are really, and I love this car. I love the Lotus 40. It's one of my favorites, and so is that. But evidently the Lotus 40 is a little bit bigger. So they're really neat to see side by side. So that's what I've been doing. So I could show you this going on the track, just kind of like down the straightaways, which is about it. I was going to talk about something else, and now because I didn't make notes, I can't remember. It will come back to me. Okay, got the tripod set up. Here's the car. We're going to run on this lane here. This thing really sings, and I'm at 14 volts, I believe. You hear the RPM going up. I still need to break this motor in a bit. Boy, does it sing. Sounds really different from a 1/32 scale car. As you can see, it runs just fine, and I'm telling you, you can barely get a piece of paper between the car and the track. It's that low to the ground. I do believe we are supposed to be at least 0.055 degree clearance, and it does very well. That's obviously not full throttle, but you can see the car is running well. You saw it in the video at Stephen Farr Jones. The last race I was there, I ran it when the body was just white. It takes it a minute to get up on the step, but once it gets going, it's pretty fast. So I'm very happy with the car. Okay, I have a list. I wanted to mention John Warren of MBD Resins on Facebook. He makes and has an enormous inventory of resin bodies. You can pretty much, if you can't find it anywhere else, as I couldn't, I went to John, and he's helped me many times before. I had several of his cars. Of course, is there one handy? Yes, there is one that's handy right now. There's another one over there. This is his resin body for a Bug-Eye Sprite, which I also owned at one time. I loved the car. Should have never sold it. Should have never sold any of them. But if I hadn't, I'd have about 20 cars by now. That's a wonderful body, and his XK120 is over there. But so I asked him. I saw this photograph. I think I spoke about this before. I saw a photograph taken in 1957 at Monaco of a Maserati 250 short nose, and it was red and it was gorgeous. And I wondered if anybody had a stock car body in it. So I went to MD MBD Resins. He has a wonderful uh, page on Facebook and a great group there. He's in New Zealand, and he'll make you up anybody he has, and it's a lot. He sent me a list one day, and it was enormous. Just about everything you ever wanted is on there. He also has wheel inserts for mini light mag wheels, for I believe wire wheels, and all kinds of different inserts for all different types of wheels for all different cars, ranging from the very early cars going back into the 30s all the way up to probably around the 80s or so. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but it's in that basic realm. He's got so many bodies that are from what we call the glory days of racing, and that for me is from the 50s to the 70s. And that's really the era for me that pushes my buttons, and especially late 50s open wheel cars, Indy cars, the Formula One cars of the 60s era with Jim Clark and all the rest of the greats, right up into the 70s where we had, and even 80s, we had cars like this. So he's a great go-to guy. I got my mini light inserts, and he turned wheels for me and made me tires for this Cooper T51, not a T71, not a Climax. This is the early Cooper. This is the one that you could literally buy a kit of and build, I believe. And it's got mini lights on it, and the tires are the accurate size. These are, I believe, there are urethane tires, and I can't see the camera right now. I'm hoping that this isn't in camera, but this car he helped me a great deal with. I scratch built the body. It wasn't one of his bodies. He does have one too if you want to get one from him. I think his is a little better. But he's a really great resource. He's very reasonable, and he gets you a product right away. It's going to take me 3 weeks to get it from New Zealand, but it's well worth the wait. I can't wait till it gets you because I want to build the car. And as I'm talking about it, you can see the Maserati, and you can see the kit he sent me. It's just gorgeous, and I'm so excited because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a frame. I can make brass frame. I have all the stuff to do it now. I have jigs, 2 different jigs. I got all kinds of soldering irons and brass and everything from this experience. And so I'm going to build that car. It'll be nice to build something 132nd after this big 124th scale car. I am planning another 124th scale car, and I'm doing a 124th scale of this. The body just came in. My hobby shop called me and they said we got the plastic kit in, so we will be doing a 917, one of my favorite cars at Le Mans. So, did I forget anything? I think that's it. Again, if you're watching, Dave, it was so great to see you yesterday in your at your best. You were just in great form, and it was inspiring, and it just really helps you love the hobby all that much more. And all of you out there who contribute so much to this hobby and work so hard, um, making wonderful things available to all of us, and making them for yourselves and sharing your track builds, which I love seeing, watching you working on your tracks. Um, and don't forget John Kitt, because John Kitt's channel is amazing. You get to see in detail some pretty amazing builds. I could go on the rest of the afternoon about all the wonderful people out there, but I just want to say thank you to all, and thank you for populating the show and watching it. The numbers are going up all the time. My God, I'm almost up to I think up to almost 5,000 subscribers, not just from the show, but the other shows I do about my Hollywood work and my model work that I do. But this show has been overall more popular than any of them, and that speaks very well of the hobby. Good going, guys. So love you all. We'll see you next week for more slot car fun.